to America, they straight up and down slaughtered Native American Indians, man. All right. Same thing with the British. How did Great Britain become economically superior than everybody else? By slavery. All right. And as long as Great Britain still stands, people are going to always talk about slavery. All right. Slavery will always be reminded because this society was built on that. Right. Now, people may say, well, that was the past, that was a long time ago, but guess what? The past is a reflection to the future, as we've just read, right? Reincarnation. All right? Because if you look at and you know what as well, you know what I find out as well, right? The people that have suffered in slavery are still suffering right now because of the result of slavery.
Oh yeah.
So to a certain degree, we have to revert back to the past.
So like I sent these brothers a link. I forgot what the title was concerning slavery in Britain.
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, basically there's two families. One was the slave master, and one was the slaves.
Yeah.
And the ones that were the family that came from the ones that were the slave master. You saw the house that they lived in.
Yeah,
it's a big ass mansion.
He was living good.
It looked like a castle.
Yeah.
They both share the same name because the black family, they got the name from their master.
Yeah.
But basically the family that owned the slave, they still got the wealth that they had from back then, man.
Exactly.
The time they had slaves.
Exactly.
You see?
So the past does matter to a certain degree because, like I say, slavery is what made Great Britain economically superior, and it's where is that right now? This is why other nations can look at Great Britain and say, look, we want to come down here and make a better life for ourselves. All right?
And even if you've got a business, right? You've got like, say 10 employees. And you have to pay a salary of 15k a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now imagine that on a global scale.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They got everything for free.
Right.
200, 300 years, man, of nothing but free labor, man.
Free labor.
All these companies are gonna have to pay. That's why the government sets up minimum wage. So at least they pay their employees a little something.
Yeah.
But you can imagine hundreds and hundreds of years of nothing but free labor, man.
Yeah.
Working you from the time the sun comes up to the time the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Working you, man, every single day. No Sabbaths, no rest.
Yeah.
Maybe Christmas or something when the master is drinking wine. For the time you're children, you're 5 years old, you're in the fields, learning to pick cotton. To the time you're an old man. Okay, and then your children grow up with the same thing again. Okay, all those years of nothing but free labor, man.
Yep. And meanwhile, while our ancestors were slaves doing that, they were sitting pretty. They were accumulating a lot of wealth, and that's why you got people walking around that's billionaires. If you want to believe me or not, it doesn't really make a difference. This is why you got people walking around that are also trillionaires too. That's why you have the terminology called old money, because all of that money that they got goes all the way back to when they had our ancestors down and out, putting in that work. Go on, bro.
This is Ecclesiastes 3:15. That which is slacking, that which has been is now,
Yep.
and that which has happened, slacking, and that which is to be have already been.
Yep.
And the Most High requireth that which is past.
And the Most High required that which is past. And also, the Irish also were a part of slavery too. They were enslaved. They were cast into the different islands like Antigua, Montserrat, and the likes.
We served side by side.
Barbados. And the Irish are Israelites anyway. They look like Edomites, but they're Israelites because they follow that same curse. They're under that same curse.
That's
Okay.
just for you now.
So the thing about it is, like I said earlier before, the people that suffered slavery in the past are still suffering right now.
Yeah.
Because in England, let's just deal with England. As you can know by the accent, I'm American, but I've lived there as well, right? So I know about the English side of things. Now, but when you're dealing with the poor class neighborhoods of England, there's three predominant people that are in the ghettos in England. You have the West Indians, you have the so-called West Africans, which are Israelites, and the West Indians too, they're Israelites as well, and you also have the Irish. Okay? So the same people that are struggling now were struggling back then. Okay, and the same people that benefited of the struggle of those people are sitting high and pretty, driving Lamborghinis and Porsches, walking around wearing 2,000 pound pair of shoes. You know what I'm saying? They living good, man. Go on, bro.
What the brother said about, all we had to go through. To top it all off at the end of that, what do? They give the masters compensation.
Exactly.
And why? Because they that was legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a crime, man.
Yeah. There's a lady called Joy Gray. Before I got to the truth, she does a lot of lectures, and she was breaking down a lot of lectures about post-traumatic slave syndrome, which is a medical term, and all the effects. So when she does the lectures, you got psychiatrists, psychologists all there. She does questions and answers, and it shows how ill-informed a lot of these so-called professional people are on the slavery that so-called black people went through. So what she was saying is that you can't really understand a so-called nigger, a black person, unless you have some kind of been through it yourself, or some kind of understanding about what they've been through. You can't really relate to even a professional person, psychiatrist can't relate to a nigger who's been through slavery. That's how she breaks it down. She approaches it from a psychological point of view, not from a Israelite point of view, but from a psychological.
But the psychological is more powerful, because when you look up the word psych means the soul or the spirit, because those are the same people coming back in the reincarnation of those same thoughts, man. Because they have because of what happened back then.
Right.
This is what you call Stockholm syndrome.
And the scripture says that surely impression make a wise man mad. And that's not just angry, man. That's mentally. It's made up people.
Yeah. That's why there's a lot of Benjamites that suffer from a lot of the Benjamites from we call it depression and mental problems. So you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask. You said sack. When you go back to the root meaning of the word sack, it means spirit?
Yeah, it means spirit. Yeah.
Okay, it's Baruch 3:8, and it says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity."
Oh, and it says, "And yet we're yet this day in our captivity." Going back to what I just said a couple of minutes ago, seconds ago, how the people that have suffered slavery are still suffering now. Because really, technically, if you really look at this as a whole, we're in slavery already. We're still in slavery, because although they're paying us, but the amount of money that they're paying us, they're not paying us enough to sustain ourselves. All right, fully. Once you pay the rent, you pay your other bills and all of that stuff, you're broke all over again. And this is ongoing cycle. So it's like you're in slavery all over again. Which you are
forcing you to keep working, man.
Yeah.
Okay? Forcing you to keep laboring in this society to keep it going.
Yeah.
Because it's a psychological thing. Basically, if they pay you more, you're not gonna work as hard as you work. So they pay you less, so that you're living paycheck to paycheck. You are forced to go back and work again, man. You're forced to put on the hours. You're forced to ask for overtime, man. That's the whole reason between this. Because the labor that you put on in any job, what they pay, that labor is much more valuable than the money that they give you.
Exactly.
I was watching this Chinese man on YouTube, and he's talking about how he was taught. He's a millionaire, obviously. He was taught how not to rely on the paycheck. Because once you rely on that paycheck, that's what you're looking for all the time.
Yes.
So all you want to do is get a job and make sure that you get that paycheck every month, instead of trying to find another means to making your own money.
Yeah.
And that's what. And Esau society is not teaching you how to make your own money. It's teaching you how to be a slave.
Dependent. That's the key. That's the key thing. Go on.
It says Baruch 3:8 said, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments."
And to be subject on the payments, like you just said. We're pretty much set up psychologically, running after a paycheck, or trying to cash a paycheck so that we can survive and take care of our day-to-day business. So we're still in slavery right now. Go on.
If you're late on some kind of payment, the reason somebody is late to pay something is because they didn't have the money to begin with.
Exactly.
But you're late to pay some kind of payments, and what do? They charge you even more.
Yep.
You struggle to pay that first payment at the beginning, and then they add even extra payments on top of that, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's Esau's kingdom, man. Fines, bills, and something that's so stupid, man. Council tax. Okay, anything that you buy has some type of tax to it.
Yeah.
And the money before it actually goes in your account, Esau takes his cut on top of it, man. All right. And it says, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power.
And that's why we're in this predicament right here. And this is why, I personally kind of get mad when people say, "Oh, we're all the same, we're all equal." No, we're not equal, because you got a group of people that are in survival mode versus those that are cooling in the cut, laying back. children are sorted out, taken care of. They don't gotta go find them a job. They can go work for their father, because their father already got an empire set up. All right, but you got our people. We gotta go find work and pretty much be in a situation where we gotta be dependent now. So that whole idea of being equal, that don't even exist. All right, like for example, you got two kind of people. You got homeless people, and you got a person that's driving a Lamborghini. That's unequal, man. Come on, stop. Go on, bro.
It's at Jeremiah.
You got a piece of it. Okay, go on.
Jeremiah 50 and 33, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together."
It says the children of Judah and Israel were oppressed together. Now, what does it mean by the children of Israel? The children of Israel represents the northern kingdom, which is beginning with Simeon, Gad, Reuben, Manasseh, Asher, Ephraim, Zebulun, Naphtali, and Manasseh, which are the so-called Hispanic people today. All right, and then you also got the southern kingdom, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So we were all oppressed together. Because when you also deal with the Latino people, they're in the hoods too. They're in the favelas and working paycheck to paycheck. Bro.
Because at one point we were all separate as a nation.
Yep.
The northern kingdom had left Israel and gone over to the Americas, and then the southern kingdom got brought over to the Americas by way of slavery.
Yep.
But then eventually now, at one point now, through immigration, all of us now, all the tribes really, you can find a big portion of all the tribes in America, man.
Yes.
And we're all suffering the persecution of Esau over there in America, man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because what you gotta understand, brothers, man, those of you that are watching and learning and listening at the same time, we're in captivity. You know, this is not a free, this world was not created for the so-called Negroes or the Latino Native American Indian. We were simply put in the system to be slaves, man. Okay? And if that's not the case, if I'm wrong, then how come most of our people fill up the working class sector? If I'm wrong on it. So this society is systematically set up to oppress those that were enslaved to begin with, which are indeed the Israelites, but it was all preordained by the Lord because we pretty much forsook the commandments of the Heavenly Father. And this is why we're down and out. But this is why the Messiah is going to come back all over again. Because it's not just all doom. No, we have to balance it out. We have to balance it out as well. This is why the Messiah is going to come again to set his people back up in that position that he wants them to be.
That's right.
Okay? Because if the Lord chose us to be his own people, right, unto himself, then we have to if we're the children of the Most High, we have to exemplify that. We don't exemplify that now. So in order for the Lord to make that come to pass, he has to put us up in that position of power. Because ultimately, and we're not saying that slavery is a bad thing, because slavery was always played out in the ancient world. But what it is you got the wrong people that's in slavery.
Right.
Okay, that's what makes it wrong all along.
Can I say something?
Go on.
Because the way that Esau done slavery is not how it's supposed to be done.
According to the law, yeah.
According to the laws, man, you're not supposed to. First off, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's only supposed to last for a certain amount of time.
There's 7 years.
7 years, right?
Yeah.
Also, you're supposed to. There's payments involved, and it's voluntary.
Yeah.
Whereas this man, he's stolen people. The scriptures talk about what happens when you steal a man. Also, he's stolen people. He's separated families. He's raped women. He's raped men.
I think it's in the law.
He's killed babies.
Right.
You know, all sorts
Yeah,
of
you
madness,
can get
man.
that too, but there's another one.
And that's not how it's supposed to go
Rape
down.
little babies too.
Rape
What you
babies,
say, let me get
fed them
precept.
to alligators.
Yes.
You know, had sons and mothers
Matter of
having
fact,
sex
brother,
with
you
each
know where
other
that's at?
just
You
so
get
he
that?
could produce more slaves for himself. Yeah, he's supposed to do that shit, man.
Yeah, so that's what they did, because you know if you have a servant, you're supposed to have your slave work for you for 7 years. Once 6 years. Once the 7th year is up, he's free. But they had us slaving for what? Centuries. All right, and we're still slaving right now, by the way. And you got our people out there that want to be down with Esau and his religion, Christianity. When this is their true nationality, being Israelites. Okay, go on, bro.
From what you're saying, it's Zechariah 1 and 15, and it says, and I am very so displeased with the heathen that are at ease.
Right.
For I was but a little displeased, and they have helped forward the affliction.
Right, they have helped for the affliction. Because even also the Arabs were involved in the slave trade as well. They were also involved in it too. And this is why they're all right as well. Because back in those days, man, enslaving human beings was a lucrative business. It was very lucrative. They were making all kind of money.
So like it's another one. It's Isaiah 47 and 6, and it says, I was wroth with my people, I have polluted my inheritance,
Right.
and given them into thine hand.
Right, and giving them into thine hand. Go on.
Thou didst show them no mercy.
Yeah.
Upon the ancient thou hast upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
Exactly. So, in other words, the Lord ultimately, gave us to the devil, man. But you gotta understand that it's because what we did.
Yeah.
Does that make it right because of what we did? No, because what happened is Esau made it a lot more worse than it should have been.
Yeah.
Okay? But this is why the Most High is going to judge these people that's sitting high and pretty. Because they, in their mind, they're thinking that the Most High was always rocking with them all along. It tells you that in Psalm 52, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Right? But they're going to find out that the Lord was setting them up for the okey-doke.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Because basically it's, when the Lord gave us in their hands, they took it, they went overboard with it. They went overboard with the slavery.
Yeah.
They went overboard with the way they dealt with Israel, man. Working you till you couldn't work anymore, man.
Yeah.
Okay? Backbreaking, adultery.
Yeah.
Alright?
They took away our heritage, man.
Sodomizing the
Our
children.
language, everything.
Yeah. Sodomizing the children, taking away their heritage. Okay? Completely fucked Jack over, man.
Yeah.
So, it's Exodus 21 and 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. We're still found in Esau's hand today. So let's read that one more time.
Exodus 21 and 16.
That's
and
right.
he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
Because what did they do to the Israelites? Because the Israelites were all over. They like to say, well, we all came from Africa, right? Well, you had Israelites, the first black slaves were coming from Spain. They don't teach that in the schools. Yeah, go on.
Because I've run across online these devils that like to say, oh, the Ottomans, they took slaves from Eastern Europe. Well, those slaves they took from Eastern Europe, they were Jakes that were ruling in Eastern Europe.
Yep.
You know, like they took, like in the book Nature Knows No Color, like it actually goes into the fact that you had so-called Negroes ruling in Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, and a lot of those.
Great Britain, just to put that one out there.
That's why they call it the Dark Ages. They call the Middle Ages the Dark Ages because all you had was people like us were ruling. Okay?
So
Is that who they call Slavs?
yes, that's where the word slave originally comes from. So, Slavic people.
Yep.
Because these Edomites like to think, oh, they were white people like being enslaved. No, they were Jakes that were being enslaved.
Yeah. Like when you speak about the Irish going into slavery, they think it's actual, like the white-looking Irish that went into slavery, man. Okay, by that time, that's why you get a lot of the Caribbeans. They would trace, a lot of them would trace their heritage back to the Irish.
Right.
It just so happens that the Irish that remain, they mingled with Edomites, and they don't look so dark skinned anymore.
Yeah.
They look like so-called white people, but they're still Israelites because their lineage goes back to the people of the tribes, man.
Yeah.
You know, and the ones that got taken away in the islands, they maintained their melanin.
Exactly.
Why? Because they didn't mingle as much with Edomites there as the ones that did here, man. Because the ones that did here, man, they were very low in numbers. Okay.
Good precept here. Habakkuk 2 and 12 says, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity.
And that's the bottom line, man. Because see, like if you study Great Britain and you study America, the origin of it, like how did it become superior? How did it become great? It was by bloodshed, man. And then now in 2019, they like to say, well, the Muslims, they're terrorists and all this other stuff. But when you compare how many people the Muslims killed versus how many the British people have killed, it don't compare, man.
That's right.
It just don't compare. It's uncomparable, man. Go on, bro. It's like they like to say, well, the Nazis killed 6 million Jews. Well, how much did the British military people kill throughout the years? Compare them numbers together. Now we find out who the real terrorists are. Go on, bro.
First Zechariah 1:15 says, and I am And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction.
Right, the affliction of the nation of Israel. Okay, because you have a group of people, like I said, everybody came from Adam when he was created, but you have a people that the Lord has chosen unto himself. Going back to what I was saying before, using the analogy of an art dealer or a painting. All right, if you've pretty much painted some paintings, you get to pick and choose what paintings you like and which you don't like. So being that we're all of his creation, he gets to pick and choose out of his creation of what he likes and what he don't like. Okay? Because what the pastors have been teaching for years is that God loves everything and everybody. No, he don't. But I want to recap with my Trinidad door. Read that again, brother. Yeah, read that one more time.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, just before he does the scriptures actually say God loves everybody?
Nope, there's no scripture on it. You're not going to find it. Go on, bro. You're actually not going to find the scripture where it says God so loves everybody. Well, you will. I mean, when you read John 3:16, it does say God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. It says that. But what does that mean? We got to break it down.
You have to break it down.
Because see, you got Christians, they'll come up and say, well, you guys don't bring that precept out. You're afraid of bringing that out. We're not afraid of bringing that out. We can bring that out all day, every day, but we break it down. Okay? Because we study these scriptures like scholars have. Okay? Go on, bro.
Zechariah 1:15. I am very,
And since that I mentioned it, we're going to break it down after we get done reading this. Go on, bro.
and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction.
Yeah, they helped forward the affliction of the nation of Israel. When you read the book of Psalms 83, it talks about how all of the other nations come together and conspire secretly on how to do away with these people. Okay, it tells you that. Because all of the other nations, and I'm talking about the prime ministers and all of these royal families, they know who the people of the earth are. They know biblically who the East Indians are. They know biblically who the so-called Europeans are. They know biblically who those indigenous Africans are. They know everybody. All right. So the people that went into slavery, they damn sure know who they are too. And what they know about them is that they are the real Jews, like what we know right now.
Israel.
All right. Yeah, we're the Israelites. Yeah. Yeah. So continue on.
Psalms 83 and 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
That's the
and
one
they,
I want.
and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Right, it says they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Because our people have been taught that everybody likes you, they love you. Listen, man, the reality of the matter is that all of these nations hate us, man. Because they're jealous, because they know in their spirit that we got the birthright. The blessing going all the way back to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Okay? Including these Muslims too, they don't like us either. Because they know, and I'm talking about the ones that know the true information. They know that we're the Israelites, and they know that they're going into slavery, man.
That's right.
That's right.
All right? Under the real Israelites going. And also those Israelis as well. Those Israelis, they know that we're the real Israelites. You understand what I'm saying? But what they've been doing is they've been lied to.
Khazars. I know my stuff, mate.
Yeah, she knows about the Khazars. And that shows you that this truth is already getting out. That shows you we're at the end, because you got
Even I
average people.
know, mate. Black people are the original people of the earth. Yeah, they're the mothers and sisters.
Right. But that's what I'm saying.
We descend from them.
Right. I don't mean to cut you, but this is what I'm saying. You got average people that know about the origins of those fake Jews. So that means that we at the end of the world, and the world is waking up, knowing that we're the Israelites now.
How can white people be Jewish and be from the Arab Peninsula? It doesn't make any sense.
So say that again.
How can they be Jews and they're white? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, if they live in the Middle East, yeah, how can they be white? It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Exactly.
It's only common sense that will tell someone that. But people are so blind.
But to be truthful, the Edomites did originate from the Middle East. When you go all the way down to Judea, a little bit down south, that's where they originally came from. Yeah. Which was the landmass of Edom. You're going, bro. We'll get into that some other time anyway.
This is Jeremiah 14 and 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up.
Yeah, so that's just kind of twofold, because the color black is a symbol of mourning, but it also means just that they are actually dark-skinned people. Okay, that's why it says that the the gates were destroyed and the crowds of them have gone up. That's happening right now. When you look at all of the camps, and I'll cut you, brother. If you look at all of the camps of Break No Stone and even the other Israelite groups out there too, what are we doing? We're crying out to the Lord. Whether we realize that or not, we're all crying out to the Lord, and we're all seeking for one thing, but mainly Break No Stone though. We're all seeking for the coming of the day of the Lord. So that's us crying. Go on, bro.
It's like when King Solomon says it, I believe the word black there means Qadar, right?
Right, Qadar.
Dark skin, right?
That's lucky, bro. The word when there's two words for black. One is Qadar and one is Shakar.
Yep.
One means Qadar means to mourn, and it can also mean dark skin as well. And Shakar literally means a black skinned man.
Right.
But when Solomon said, "I am black," he was in the word there is Shakar.
Yep. Dark-skinned man.
He says about the tents of Qadar.
Tents of Qadar. Because when you read Isaiah 14 is twofold, like you just broke down, on how the Hebrew word Qadar means mourning, right? Yeah. And it also means to be dark. So that's twofold. Which Jeremiah is right about that. Go on, brother. Which the tribe of Judah is the so-called American Negroes we have on the sign, but you also got them scattered abroad all around Nigeria and other places. You know what I mean? Go on, brother. Read that. Continue on. Yeah.
So back in Psalms 83 and 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Right, and consulted against thy hidden ones, like they all get together and conspire secretly. Especially in the UN. If you look at the UN building, there's no representative of the so-called African Americans, if you notice. Okay? Because they all know who those people are. Alright? So in this society as a whole, especially those that lines go back to the nation of Israel, in this society are considered the no people. That's just the reality. But they like to tell us on TV and the media that you're equal and everyone's one. That's not true. Okay? According to this society, that's not true. We live in a what you call a feudal system, which means what matters is what comes from the top. You have what you call your modern day kings and your queens today. This is why you have what you call the Queen of England. All right, it's just like every ancient empire. Every empire had kings and all of that stuff, and we have kings to this very day. And the ultimate king of this empire right here is the Rothschilds. Hence you have the term the Rothschild dynasty. Okay, that's the dynasty that's calling all of the shots. Got all of these prime ministers under their command. The prime minister don't run a damn thing. The president don't run a damn thing. Okay, the bankers is what's giving them guys the orders of what to do. Even the other prime ministers all around the world, they're under their their order. Go on, bro. When you break the society down, you understand it all. Go on.
Verse 4, they have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance."
Right. That they don't longer remember their names of what they used to be back in the day. Because once we wake up to who we are, right, as a nation, right, you have to understand that, guess what, we're going to go back to our power and pray before the Lord. And they know the scriptures too, the powers that be, they know the scriptures. They know if we all revert back to being Israelites and we pray to the Most High, as it says in Kings, it says that the Lord will come back again.
And they're jealous about that.
And they're jealous about that, man.
Yeah.
And they want to, and the thing about it is, and you got to understand, it's only in their best interest to do so, because it's for them to keep their society going. Plus, they've been sitting high and pretty for 500 years. That's a long time. Yeah. So I mean, if you've been sitting like that for 500 years, you don't want to all of a sudden come off that position, because you don't know what it's like to be at the bottom. So yeah, it's in their best interest to always kept this information hidden. And they've spent billions of dollars going back to what our apostles have been saying, our elders have been saying. All right, go on, bro.
Ephesians 6 and 12, it says, "For we wrestle."
Oh yeah. Hold on, bro. Let her finish this. Where you going? Oh, you gonna get water? Okay, go.
Verse 5, they have consorted together with one consent. They are confederate against it.
And that's why amongst these higher elites, you have all of these different councils. Like you have the Council of Foreign Relations, you have the Council of the Trilateral Commission. All of these different councils. You have the the Cobra Council in England. Okay? And the Muslim Brotherhood, which is another council, and they get together and they speak about things in secret. Oh, you have the Bilderberg meeting, where powerful people come together and they speak things that they don't want to publicate to the people. Go on.
So verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom,
Right.
and the Ishmaelites,
And it listed the first thing with people, the tabernacle of Edom. The tabernacle of Edom mainly dealing with them so-called Jews. Okay, which are known as the Amalekites of the Bible today. Go on. The top of the list.
that's right,
The top dogs, baby boy, go on.
and the Ishmaelites
And the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, go on.
of Moab,
The so-called Chinese, go on.
and the Hagareans,
And the Hagarenes, which are those Hamites, if I'm correct. Go on.
Gebal and Ammon,
Gebal and Ammon, those are so-called Japanese, go on.
and Amalek,
And Amalek, them so-called Jews. All right, but it says Edom, the tabernacle of Edom, because, like I said, it's in their very best interest to hold this information from us. They've always known, even before we even came on the scene in the New World, that we were the Israelites. They already knew this, man. How you think Christopher Columbus got to the New World? He was reading the Apocrypha, the Apocrypha that we showed him the Apocrypha.
Oh, from the Moors, isn't it?
No, not from the Moors. I'm talking about something
I
else.
can't wait. Oh, this is
Right, this is the Apocrypha here. Now, Christopher Columbus, his real name is Cristobal Colon. Now, when you really dive into what he knew about the Native American Indians, he knew that they were on the other side of the world. How did he know that? Because he was reading the scripture where it says that they would be dwelling in Asareth, which means another land. Now that another land is what you would call America today. Because in the ancient world, no one really didn't know about that landmass. They only knew about the worlds of the lands of the east. That's all they knew. But that's why they called it Asareth. All right, and we're gonna find that precept. It's in 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. I believe it's 48. Somebody can get me that. But yeah, read what you got.
and even when you look in the Jewish Encyclopedia, so, in the definition for Asareth, it actually says Christopher Columbus identified Asareth as in the Americas.
Yeah.
So it even says that in there.
Yeah. Yeah, 13 and 4, I believe it's 48. Yeah, brother, if you want to say something, man, say something, man.
I was just thinking of the word Asareth. That's in the scriptures, isn't it?
Yeah.
For Americans.
Yeah, it's America.
So yeah. So this is 2nd Ezra 13 and
I believe it's 40. Okay, it's 39.
39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
Time of Hosea the king, which was I believe it was the Assyrian Empire, which is around the 8th century BC. So what happened was the Assyrians took them in captivity, and what they wanted to do, they wanted to separate themselves from the Assyrians, which the modern day Assyrians are the Iraqis today, and all of those people. Those are the same people that enslaved the Northern Kingdom, the Latino, the so-called North American Indians. That entire crew was enslaved by them. So what they decided to do is move away from that landmass that they were in, and go to America today. And this is something that Christopher Columbus was reading. This is why he went over there. Okay, go on.
Whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
Yep.
And he carried them over. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right, so came they into another land, which took them a year and a half to get there, and another year and a half back, which was approximately 3 years. Okay, go on. But a lot of them went back to the Asareth, and they stayed there for thousands of years. Go on.
This is verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
Right. In other words, the Assyrians, they were known